If you play a junior sport or you're the parent of a child who plays junior sport, then you need to know about concussion. This video will investigate what concussion is, why it's important, and what you can do about it. First of all, a concussion is a brain injury. It's caused by a knock to your head or another part of your body that results in your brain being shaken inside your head. This injures the brain, although usually only for a short time. Sometimes a brain injury such as concussion can make you feel really sick. If you have a concussion, you might experience being confused, not being able to stand up or walk straight, getting dizzy, having a headache, not being able to remember things, feeling like you're going to vomit, actually vomiting, or getting blurry vision. So what actually happens to your brain in concussion? When you get a knock to the head, your brain is injured in two ways. Firstly, the actual knock means your brain gets shaken around inside your skull. This is a bit like shaking a jar with jelly inside it. The jelly gets beaten up. This can happen even if you don't purposely shake the jar, but just drop it, for example. Similarly, the brain can be injured even if you just fall to the ground too hard but don't actually get hit in the head. Now the brain, or in this case the jelly, is made up of tiny pieces called neurons. After your brain has been shaken a bit, the neurons don't work as well as they did before. Because they can't work properly, the messages that they normally send around your brain go more slowly, or sometimes not at all. This is a bit like trying to send a letter without a postman to take it anywhere. It doesn't work. The problems caused by concussion are especially important to kids and teenagers because your brains are still growing. On top of this, you're learning a lot of new things at school and in other places. This means you need your brains to work hard a lot of the time. Having a concussion can make it hard for your brain to keep growing, especially while it's trying to learn new things. Concussion leads to your brain having trouble doing its job. As a result, straight after you get a knock, you might have trouble remembering things, making decisions, doing your homework, and acting normally. Sometimes, if your brain isn't looked after properly, these problems don't go away. You might have trouble learning how to do new things, like playing a musical instrument. This might mean that your marks at school get worse, and it might be harder for you to play sport well because you can't think as quickly as you used to. Fortunately, there are some things that both kids and parents can do to make sure that you stay healthy and happy even after you get a knock to the head. If you do get hit in the head or knocked over and you can't walk properly, feel dizzy, feel sick, or your head hurts, it's important to tell an adult straight away. If they say that you might have a concussion, it's important to stop playing sport that day. That means walking off the field or court if you're playing a game, or getting off your bike or horse. It's very important not to keep playing that day and just have a rest. The day after you get a concussion, your brain will still be recovering. Just like hurting your hand might make it hard for you to write or draw for a few days, hurting your brain makes it hard to think and learn for a few days. It's important that you have a good rest by not exercising hard or doing anything that you find difficult on the day after you get a concussion. After you've had a concussion, it's important that you see a doctor so that they can check that it's okay for you to go back to sport. They might decide that you need a few more days of rest, or that you should try just going back to training first and see if you can do that without feeling sick or getting a headache. So remember, kids who feel sick or dizzy or have a headache after being hit in the head or knocked over shouldn't go back to playing sport on the same day. Before you do go back to playing sport, you do need a doctor to tell you that it's all okay. There are a few key things that are important to remember for everyone when it comes to concussion. So kids and teenagers. When you get hit in the head or knocked over while playing sport, it's important to tell an adult right away if you feel like vomiting, have a headache, feel dizzy, can't walk straight, have trouble seeing things, or have trouble remembering things. You might be okay, but make sure you tell an adult just in case. Your friends and teammates might want you to keep playing, but you know your body better than they do, so don't be afraid to say something if you don't feel right. As for parents, if you're not sure whether your child is okay to keep playing, just sit them out. If your child does get a concussion while playing sport, it's important to take them back to the doctor or hospital right away if they become unconscious or less alert than usual, get confused, have a fit, have an ongoing headache, vomit more than once, have any bleeding or watery fluid coming from their ears or nose, or if you're worried for any reason. There are a few places to get more information about concussion if you'd like to learn more. So go ahead and click on one of the links below.